Hey, Harold's calling up Tino Martinez. Take it away, H.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, I mean, this is perfect, right? We got ABS Challenge. We're coming off the WBC, which is basically Team USA. And you got Yankees, Mariners. Tino Martinez was all those things. What's up, Tino? How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Great to see you. So let's talk a little bit about coming out of the University of Tampa, playing on Team USA. You end up being the #1 pick for the Mariners. What was that like for Tino back in those days?
Oh, it was amazing. You know, I got drafted out of high school by the Boston Red Sox in the 3rd round, and I was a 17-year-old senior, but my parents wanted me to go to college, so I went to the University of Tampa. They told me if you're good enough, you get drafted again. So, you know, I went to UT and I got drafted in the 1st round. But back then, you know, we didn't have ESPN and all that kind of stuff where you get all the teams and see a lot of games and stuff. So I didn't know a whole lot about the Seattle Mariners at that time. When I had scouts come to Tampa to work me out, you know, like behind the plate, at third base, at first base, outfield, showing your arm and all that kind of stuff. But I never heard from the Seattle Mariners. So when that phone rang that day, it's not like it is today. You guys in the studio, you know the guys are probably going to be the top picks. You wait for the phone to ring, and when the phone rang and they said, "Hey Tino, this is was Luke Reynolds, my scout from Seattle Mariners. We took you in the 1st round," and I was like, "Wow." Very excited to begin with, first and foremost, but I thought to myself, man, I knew Ken Griffey Jr. was the young kid coming up in that organization, but I didn't know a whole lot more about that or the city of Seattle. The furthest I could possibly go from Tampa, Florida, was to Seattle, Washington. So, but again, the chance to play Major League Baseball was a thrill for me to go to Seattle and start my career there.
Well, and when I think about Tampa and Seattle, I think of Lou Piniella. And you played for Lou in Seattle, am I correct? You ended up playing with Lou a little bit?
I did. You know, Harold, when we first got there, you were there with me, and you obviously helped me out a lot. We had Jimmy Lefevre, and then we had Bill Plummer. But I think when things started to really turn around, the organization started to turn around, is when they hired Lou Piniella from Cincinnati after he had won the World Series there. And Lou started to rebuild the team with, you know, baseball players, guys that he knew that knew how to win, and gamers, and I think that he has had the most impact on keeping that organization in Seattle. He turned it around and turned it into what it is today.
So then you go to the Yankees. You get traded to New York, and I remember, Tino, I think they gave you like 48 hours to work on a contract before you signed with the Yankees. Am I right with that?
Yeah, I was right. Well, because I was. You know, I was up for arbitration in Seattle, and I didn't know I was getting traded. You know, I hit 31 home runs that year. We won the division. We beat the Yankees in the playoffs. I had a really good year, and I thought we have a good young team. And when so again, back then we didn't have all the rumors on ESPN as to, you know, trade rumors, whatever. So one day in the Tampa Tribune here, I saw in those little small prints, you know, baseball, they have soccer or whatever, and I saw Tino Martinez on the trading block, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting traded. I had no idea. So one day, it was in December, and I saw Lou Piniella at a golf course here in Tampa. He's in Tampa as well. And I said, "Lou, am I getting traded?" And he said, "Yeah, son, we have no choice. We got to take you, 3 guys to arbitration. We've already got 4 or 5 guys under, you know, big contracts back then, which was you know, Junior and Randy Johnson and Jay Buhner and Edgar Martinez. So we got to trade you." And he said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "I don't know. What are my choices?" He said, "Well, it's the Chicago Cubs, because I think they're about to get rid of Mark Grace at the time, or the San Diego Padres, or the New York Yankees, because Donnie was retiring." And he said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "Lou, I'd love to go to New York. Man, I loved hitting there. I see the ball there. The right field porch is right there." He said, "All right, son. You know how Lou is. All right, son, I'll make it happen." So Lou did the deal and got me over to Seattle. But we did have, so I had, when the Yankees called me to answer your question, they told me they had, I had to agree to a contract on the terms of the contract before the trade happens. If I don't agree to the contract, I go back to Seattle. So we had about 36 hours there to negotiate it, and at that point I thought, man, I'm going to play for the New York Yankees. Just give me multi-years. I don't even know what the number's going to be. Just 4 or 5 years would be great. So that's how it all happened.
Wow. And then you end up with one of the greatest at-bats of the World Series history. And I bring this up because of the ABS Challenge. We all talk about the Mark Langston AB. with the one ball that's called the strike that's called a ball, or the ball that's called a ball, and then you hit the grand slam. So take us through. We got video. We're going to go pitch by pitch. What are you thinking in that moment? Bases loaded in the World Series.
Well, there was 2 outs, and I was just thinking about, sac fly, get a run in. It was a tie game at the time. So Langston has that. He always tosses a little cutter, slider type ball down away from me, which is the pitch I do not want to hit. That's just a rollover for me.
Oh.
So basically, I was looking for a ball up, and at that point it was a 2-2 count. The pitch you're talking about, it was one of those pitches that today, forget the ABS system, but the box, that little box they have every day now. It was one of those pitches that would have been at the bottom of the box, that could have been called a ball or strike that was down there. And, the catcher kind of caught it and pulled it up. So, he made it look more like a ball than what it was. So I got lucky on that pitch there. And then the next pitch was, the pitch I was looking for, it was waist high. I mean, Langston had no choice but to really throw it over the plate because the bases were loaded.
So would you have liked the ABS challenge? Would you have liked it?
Absolutely. Oh, my God. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten rung up with balls, 3 or 4 balls off the plate or in the plate inside. It was terrible. We played. It was like 2-2, 3-2. The ball play, you foul it off. You can't just take it. And these guys these days, before the ABS system, just that box alone, it's a 2-2 count, 3-2 count, and the ball is like that far inside, and they take it, and they don't get rung up. And I'm going, how do they take that? The umpires are calling that box consistently, but I would have loved it because it takes a lot of pressure off, chasing a ball that's not a strike. And also, I think that, and I think everybody there would agree with it, it's a great time to be a hitter in the Major League Baseball. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on the pitchers to keep it in that box and throw strikes, but the hitters have a definite advantage now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, it's definitely different than the days, Greg, when Tino and I were playing, because if an umpire had a certain zone, you knew what that zone was. It became an advantage for you. Or they might, in Tino's case, say, you better start swinging the bat. End it with that one, Tino. So you had umpires actually have meetings with us. Tell people about that, then we're going to throw it back to Greg.
Yeah, so everybody knows, and all the teams know, every year in spring training, the umpires come to talk to the whole team and basically to tell you the new rules change, whatever it may be, or they always talked about the strike zone. One year they decided to higher the strike zone or lower it. They would say they're going to call it from the chest down to the knees or from the knees to the waist or whatever it may be. They try to give you an idea of what they're going to call that particular year. And I remember that one time with the Yankees, they came, I can't remember which umpire it was who came to talk to our team. And he said, okay, this is what we're going to do this year. We're going to call 3 balls off the plate to the outside side and maybe a ball or 2 inside. This because I guess they're trying to speed up the game, or I guess there's too many home runs being hit. And Don Zimmer, I'll never forget it. We were in that meeting, and Don Zimmer just started blasting him. He said, I don't want to curse on this show here, but it was like, gee, damn it, F this, and why the F do we even have home plate? Just get rid of home plate altogether. Don't even put it there. And he took off and he walked out of the room, and that was it.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. All right, Tino, and that's it from you. We appreciate the time, man. It's awesome. I tell you what, Greg, I don't know. He said it was close. I still think it was, I don't know.